As the Food and Agriculture Organization releases a report on the state of food and nutrition across the world, farmers in Kenya's North Rift region are staring at huge losses due to the prevailing weather conditions. They are fearing crop failure due to a dry spell, which is threatening food security in the East African country. CGTN's Nick Mudimba has more details.
Maize farmers in many parts of Kenya usually get good harvests and profits, but this largely depends on the climate. One of those areas that has always had bumper harvest is Uasin Gishu County. However, it is now facing challenges in growing maize. The crop is a staple food in most East African countries. Jackson Kombai is one of the farmers counting losses.
I planted 50 acres of maize, but this time round I will get nothing. Even feeding the cows will be impossible because there is no maize crop, and that's a big loss for us. We took loans from financial institutions and chipped in with our savings, but we will end up empty-handed.
Financial institutions.
But the shift from rain-fed to irrigation-based maize production is still hard for many of the farmers, and depending on weather forecasts has also proven to be difficult.
We have been getting weather information, but it's not reliable. The information isn't correct. At times, it indicates that there's 60% chance of rain, but you won't even see a single drop.
Now, despite the maize planting letdown, he decided to venture on horticultural practice, which, according to him, brings more yield and, of course, more profits. That shift is giving him hope as he has ventured into growing tomatoes, cabbages and spinach due to the lessons he learned from inconsistent rain patterns. He also pumps water from a nearby river to irrigate his garden.
I have workers and I have to maintain them so that they don't look for work because of the maize failure. I use this land for income to pay workers and to sustain my family.
The State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World 2021 report focuses on complementary food system solutions. Nick Mudimba, CGTN, Uasin Gishu County, Kenya.
Well, Cindy Holleman, a senior economist in the Agricultural Development Economics Division at the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, of the United Nations based in Rome, is joining us with more on this development. Cindy, this report paints a rather worrying picture of food insecurity across the world. What were the major causes of this and how can they be addressed?
Yeah, I think maybe the first thing to point out is that these numbers that we're seeing, basically a single year increase of 161 million people that are hungry, as our first assessment since the COVID impact. And this is the biggest increase worldwide that we've seen in world hunger in decades. So it is, part of the cause is due to the COVID pandemic. We see that the main driver has been the economic downturn. So because of the containment measures of COVID, many countries around the world have gone into economic contraction and downturns. This has meant that people have lost their incomes. They've had lower wages, small businesses have been closed, informal sectors affected. So all of this translates into problems for people to access food because they don't have enough income. At the same time, we see, the growing demands for social protection to capture and to support those people. So if we look at these increases, COVID is a big player in terms of the containment and this sharp increase, but it's not the only one. And specifically focusing on Africa, it's the combination of the pandemic and the containment measures and the resulting economic downturns, but also the other drivers, which is climate, so the climate extremes and the climate-related disasters, conflicts, combined with inequality. So people's inequality related to assets and access to services.
Well, the report does also estimate that around a tenth of the global population, up to about 811 million people, were undernourished last year. Now, what was the cause and how has Africa particularly been affected by this?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, even before the COVID pandemic, we saw hunger rising, and there are three drivers that are behind that: conflict, climate change extremes, and economic downturns. The pandemic just added an additional challenge and boost. Africa is unique in that it's the only region in the world that is hit by all three of those. So the increases in hunger in Africa, which have been the sharpest last year, is the only region that is hit by all three of those drivers. And many countries are facing many at the same time. And that has led to these high increases in Africa.
All right, Cindy Holleman joining us there via Zoom. Thank you for that update.